Have you ever found yourself in the kitchen, looking through your cupboards, trying to find something to eat? And there's lots of food there. Maybe even looking in the fridge, there's lots of food there too. But none of it is appealing to you. And what you realize is that what you're actually doing is looking for something to eat that's going to satisfy a very specific urge that you're having. And a lot of the time, you're not even hungry, but you've got this craving for, well, in my case, it was for chocolate. But what happens if there's no chocolate in the kitchen? What do you do? Have you ever actually just walked out of the kitchen empty handed? I can tell you that I didn't. I took something else and I ate it. And the reason that I did that was because, well, the reason that I did that, I know it now, was because I was still getting that sugar kick that my brain needed. If you're able to manage not eating sugar for a solid 2 weeks, that urge to eat sugar actually subsides. When you take the sugar cravings away, what happens to your feelings of hunger? Most people mistakenly believe that keto suppresses appetite, but that's not really what's happening. The same reason that your cravings for sugar go away, your hunger is lessened because by not eating sugar, your hormones get regulated. Your hormones were out of control because as you eat sugar, your blood sugar is going up and down and up and down. But stable blood sugar equals stable insulin equals less hungry. This happens because insulin has a huge impact on your hunger and satiety hormones, ghrelin and leptin. You need to remember that your body is all about balance. When things are in balance, we eat normally. You might wonder, if my appetite isn't suppressed, why am I not eating as much as I normally do? In our body, sugar and fat are both energy sources. When we stop eating sugar, now we're using the fat from the food that we're eating as our energy source. So because there's no sugar coming in, insulin is not rushing in to put that sugar away. We're able to access the energy that we've eaten, and our body doesn't send us out looking for more energy. And the great part about that is we have fat on board. That's the weight we're trying to lose. Our body uses it for energy and we lose weight. This means that I can go longer between meals because if I happen to need some energy, because I'm now using fat for fuel and there's fat on me, my body can tap into this fat that's on my body. It's already been primed to use fat for fuel. When we're on a sugar focused diet, your body is not primed to use fat for fuel. It's primed to use sugar for fuel, so it sends you to get it. Now, of course, we still get hungry occasionally because it's not just about fuel. We also need building blocks. So when our body needs protein and our body needs more fat to build things, because parts of our body are built with fat, a lot of our body is built with fat, it will again send you out to get more food. Eating less often can be scary. Mostly because when we tell people that we're only eating once a day, they react in a way that makes us feel like we're doing something wrong because they assume that we have some kind of mental health issue or that we're trying to force our body to lose weight. But also because we've been programmed to believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, has to happen in the morning, and that we should be eating 5 to 6 times a day. Not true. Wellness Warrior, the most important thing that I learned through this entire process is to eat only when hungry. Not based on time, not based on fun. And when you stop eating sugar and actually follow your hunger, most people end up eating 1 to 2 times per day. On the topic of sanity, the other thing that happens when you stop eating sugar is that your brain functions better. Although there are few parts of the brain that use sugar for fuel, the majority of your brain works best on ketones. Dr. Nadir Ali made an excellent video explaining how the body preferentially saves ketones for the brain because it's the cleanest source of energy. And obviously, if you think about it, if ketones are the cleanest source of energy for our body, And our brain is the most important structure in our body. It only makes sense that the body would want to make sure that if there are ketones available, the brain gets the most of them. Now, add to this that we know that the body makes all the carbs that the body actually needs. So even though there's a small amount of glucose that our brain does use, we make more than enough of it. We don't need to eat it. So the result of removing carbohydrates from your diet is that you have increased mental clarity, better focus, and the general better function of your brain. When we eat sugar, we activate the pleasure centers of the brain, which releases dopamine, serotonin, those pleasure hormones. You feel good for a short period of time. And then when insulin steps in and puts the sugar that you've eaten into fat storage, not only does your blood sugar plummet, but your mood plummets. So by taking sugar out of your diet and having stable blood sugar, you also experience better emotional control. I don't know if I said it enough times that sugar is a toxin. In order to fight against this toxin, our body produces insulin. Insulin takes that sugar, puts it into fat storage. That's how the body neutralizes the sugar. Most of us want to lose weight, but then our body is taking the sugar that we eat and creating fat, which is exactly the opposite of what we're saying we want. To counter the sugar that we're eating, a lot of us will turn to exercise. I want to take a look at some numbers. Doctors believe that our body can manage 20 grams of carbs per day and keep us healthy. On average, the typical person in North America eats about 350 grams of carbs daily. Vigorous exercise for 1 hour burns about 132 grams of sugar. That would mean that your body would still be putting away 198 grams of sugar every single day. The only way to get ahead of this is to stop eating excessive amounts of sugar on a daily basis. So, if you actually want to stop eating sugar for 2 weeks, what that means is that you're not eating any type of vegetation. So, no fruits, no vegetables, no nuts, no grains. That would mean that you would be doing a carnivore style diet. Is it actually possible to eat only eggs, meat, and fish for 2 solid weeks? I'm going to say absolutely yes because I've done it. I'm going to say absolutely yes because Dr. Barry has been doing it for more than 3.5 years. I'm going to say absolutely yes because Dr. Sean Baker has been doing it for more than 6 years. And he's 55, so he's older than me. So what does this mean for you? It's 2 weeks of a carnivore diet to let go of addiction. And it seems like a reasonable exchange for anyone who is not taking medication. If you're taking medication, you need the supervision of your doctor to engage a carnivore diet, a keto diet, because the food you eat absolutely impacts the way that your medication will function. Just because it's reasonable to eat 2 weeks of a carnivore diet doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. Those cravings are really going to push you, especially for about 3 days, probably starting on the 3rd day. That's where it started for me. I've seen in videos from Dr. Barry and Dr. Berg where they talk about taking extra salt and electrolytes to minimize the withdrawal symptoms that you're living when you try to do a keto or carnivore lifestyle for the first time. I don't know. I didn't do it that way. I lived the withdrawal. Your mileage might vary. What I will say is, for me, having lived the withdrawal, I credit it with one of the reasons that I've never gone back to eating standard diet. After living that withdrawal and really understanding that I was addicted, I wouldn't ever go back there. And when you finish your 2 weeks, I want you to really think about what you will do. I want you to have it planned out before you're done your 2 weeks, because you have options. You could go back to eating standard diet and become addicted again. Or you can choose to go carnivore and stay there, or do a keto lifestyle, which Again, 20 grams or less. Most doctors believe you're going to be able to keep yourself healthy. Well, actually get healthy and then keep yourself healthy. I know it's tempting to think that you can go back to your standard diet and just be moderate and everything's going to be okay. So I want you to check out this video where I walk you through what would really happen. Click on the link and I'll meet you over there. If you're still listening, when I tried to be moderate with chocolate, the one thing that I remember is that somehow chocolate chip cookies, chocolate cake, chocolate croissant, chocolate. I wasn't having chocolate bars, but figured out a way to have chocolate anyway. Do better than me.